Hey guys, Kim here and welcome to another episode of Kim TV. Today we're going to talk about a topic that is really popular, but not everyone really understands what it's about, and that is Social Media 101, really understanding what it's all about. Lately I've been having the privilege of speaking with a lot of entrepreneurs and small business owners about social media and sort of getting their feedback and their overall sort of experience with social media. And I've been noticing that while there's a lot of you, small business owners who are really savvy when it comes to social media, there's a lot of us who still don't understand what it really is all about. And so often we miss the big picture. We don't really understand how is, posting on Facebook or posting on Twitter and showing up every day really helping us achieve our overall goals, how it is impacting our business, and how we can actually move those fans and followers into leads, and hopefully from there actually make them paying customers. So today we're going to sort of explore a lot of concepts that are really basic, but will serve as a great reminder as to why you're on social media, why you're doing what you're doing, and whether or not you're doing it correctly. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first point that I want to make here is really important and one that a lot of business owners miss constantly, and that is finding the right channel for your business. This is so important. So often we go ahead and, put up a Facebook page or put up a Twitter profile without thinking strategically about why we're going to set up shop on that particular channel and whether or not it's actually going to be beneficial for us. So I want you to go ahead and evaluate these four main aspects, or three main aspects, and then one sort of extra concept that I want you to take into consideration when you're either starting out with social media and trying to decide whether you should start with Facebook and Twitter or you should just start with one. And then also, if you're already established, figuring out whether or not the network that you're currently on is the right network for you or channel for you. And if you're deciding to move to a different one or add a different one, sort of, what should you take into consideration? So the first thing is to go where your audience already hangs out. So often we completely forget about our clients. We want to be able to connect and build relationships with people who are our ideal prospect. If you are on Pinterest, let's say, and your services and your products don't align with the demographic on Pinterest, which happens to be, 80% women who have, higher income levels and are ready to make a sale, ready to buy, then you're really probably, missing out on greater opportunities somewhere else. So I want you to really understand this is extremely important. Go where your audience already hangs out. And whenever I talk about this, the immediate response I get is, Kim, how the heck do I know, where my audience is? And this is actually really easy to figure out. It's not as complicated as you might think. So the first thing I want you to do is to go ahead and ask your current clients what social channels they love. Do they love Facebook? Are they really into Twitter? Are they really techie, so they just go ahead and hang out on Google+? And since you're already doing business with these people, I hope on a daily basis, you really are the one who understands sort of their interests, their likes. So why not go ahead and ask them, where do you hang out? You can do this by sending them an email survey. You can even just send out a newsletter. You can ask them while they're in your store if you have, an actual brick and mortar sort of location. Pick up the phone, give them a call, just whatever you do, make sure that you're asking them where they're at. And this is going to give you a great guidance when it comes to deciding, what social channel is best for your business. The second thing that I want you to really take into consideration is, are your competitors on social media? And if they are, what social channels are they actually on? So this is a little bit sneaky, but very, do it in a very respectful way. Of course, you can use the Google to type in, whatever your competitor's business name is and figure out, are they on Facebook? Are they on Twitter? Do they really thrive on Instagram? So these questions are definitely going to help you because you guys are sort of tackling the same ideal client or a similar ideal client, and following their lead is something that can be really helpful if, and this is a big if, they have a presence on social media that is really thriving. So how do you know if the competitor is actually thriving on social media? You go in, look at their page, figure out if they're actually posting great content, if they're getting good responses, how are their likes, comments, and shares, or do they get a lot of repins? Do they have a large fan base? Is it a fan base that is actually growing? So all of these things are really important when you actually figure out, where your competitors are at. Evaluate that, use it to your advantage. And the third thing that I want you to consider is making sure that your business aligns well with that particular channel. Are you a B2B business? Are you a B2C? So, do you offer products, programs, and services to other businesses, or are your products, programs, and services tailored to the overall consumer? This is really important because I can tell you right off the bat, it's going to make a huge impact on whether or not you are actually doing business in the right channel, okay? So, is that, going to completely eradicate the efforts that you are already sort of making on a particular channel? Absolutely not. Can you thrive on any channel? I tend to believe so. It really does depend on your business. But for the most part, if you are making the right choices and you're starting off, with the right momentum, then it's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of hustle to actually start on the right social network. To give you a brief idea, here is one of the main things that I want you to sort of understand, and I'm going to give you a brief example. Let's say that you are a photographer and you are trying to figure out whether or not you should be on Facebook, whether you should start an Instagram account as well, and you might be thinking about going over to LinkedIn as well. So all of these networks can work for you, for sure, but you might be tempted to use, Facebook because it's really popular, or maybe Instagram because it's very much in line with what you do in terms of people sharing photos constantly. Instagram is a place where there's a lot of really high quality photos. So this is all three are good places if your audience is there. So let's say that you are a professional photographer that specializes only in taking photography of, let's see, retail spaces. You might want to consider being on Instagram and then perhaps maybe even LinkedIn. Why? Because you're a B2B service. LinkedIn is a place where people do business with other businesses. So it's a B2B environment. LinkedIn might be a great way or a great channel for you to actually make really good connections with businesses, in the local area, connect with people one-on-one, showcase your work with their sort of new portfolio. And it's really important that you really understand where you should really focus your efforts. Now, a lot of people have a presence on multiple social networks, and while that's great, when you're starting out, this is really important piece of advice that I heard from Laura Roeder back when I started in social media, and that was select one social network. Okay, you don't have to be in all the social networks in existence. Pick one, really harness the power of that network. When you are actually seeing results, you're dominating on that social network and you're actually turning your fans into leads and those leads into sales, then it is the right time to add another social network if and only if you feel like that is the smart move for your business. You don't need to be everywhere. You don't even need to be on multiple networks. If one of them works really well for you, focus your efforts there and make sure you have the right resources to actually make your presence count if you're adding in another social network. So I know this was really long, but I hope it was helpful for you. Let's move on to the next step. Okay, so the next step is actually quite simple, and let me pull this up so you guys can actually see it. And it's a question that a lot of us don't really ask ourselves. How do people use social? How are they interacting on social media? And the truth is that every social network is unique and different, and they all have their unique culture and their unique ambience. But for the most part, all people, or all users, I should say, that are utilizing social media are there to connect with their friends, share their thoughts and insights, and even vent sometimes. So it's really important that you understand that they're not there to buy from you, okay? This is a really common misconception. People think that all they need to do is put up a Facebook page and, post their sales and offers, and everyone's going to go ahead and buy. And I know you're not, one of those people, because you're a very savvy marketer. But I want you guys to be aware that this is not the case. People are there to interact, to be social. It's like a cocktail party or a networking event. People are there to mingle, to have fun. Sure, would they mind that you offer them a product or a service that they are interested in? Absolutely not. But we have to make sure that we're keeping our social channels social. All right? Really important. So the next sort of topic that I want to tackle with you guys is respecting the network's environment. That means that you have to really understand what that particular channel's ambience is, what the culture is in those social networks, I should say, and how do those users differ per each social network. So let's use Instagram as a main example, and I see this happening a lot. I don't know if it's just because Instagram is kind of new and there's not a lot of businesses on there, but guys, Instagram is a place where we share beautiful photography, okay? Really high quality stuff. People are there to be inspired, to be empowered, to share their life with their friends. And Instagram was designed to allow everyone to become a photographer. Okay, you have beautiful filters, really beautiful photography that can be easily taken with an iPhone or a smartphone, thanks to the power of technology. So let's respect the fact that people on Instagram are used to seeing really high quality images. What do I mean by that is, please do not post a flyer or a version of a flyer or some kind of big sales sign that's really salesy and screams advertisement, because people are going to ignore it. You are interrupting their daily activities. You are interrupting and disrupting the culture and the ambience. So be really careful of what type of content you post on Instagram and on every social channel for that matter. Understand what people are sharing on each individual channel and make sure to leverage that in a positive way so that your fans and followers love to consume the content that you're publishing on a daily basis. You're empowering, entertaining, and inspiring them on a daily basis. Okay? So be sure to show respect and make sure that you understand that social networks ambience and also the culture. Alright, so moving on here, let's ask ourselves, what do people like to share on social? And we already sort of touched on this, but I want you to be really aware of the difference between blasting out the same exact content on every social network and actually doing it strategically. So I want you to pay close attention to what people are posting. Obviously on Instagram, they're going to be posting photos. On Pinterest, they're really high quality photos. A lot of tutorials, some videos, a lot of DIY stuff on Pinterest. Really high end, graphics, a lot of infographics. On Facebook, photos do really well, quotes, obviously links to your blog or your podcast or any original content that you're creating, which we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But pay attention to what people are sharing and how they're using this particular social network, and then go ahead and leverage it. Use it, adapt it to whatever you are posting and publishing. and use it yourself. Okay, please, if you do not know how to use Facebook, you don't have a personal profile, then I suggest you take, a few days at least to really understand the network, research it, and then set up a Facebook page. So many people don't understand Twitter, and yet they go ahead and they start a Twitter profile and they don't really understand how to use it. So make sure that your business is looking stellar on social and not like you have no idea what you're doing. Okay? Really important. Great. So moving on here to the next topic, and that is creating original content is key. This is really important, guys. Yes, we want to be great content curators. And let me just go ahead and do a quick recap here. What is original content and what is content in general? So content is any piece of information, and that can be in the form of a video, a blog post, a podcast, audio, newsletter, you name it, that is adding value to the community at large. Okay, so for this particular topic, I want to make sure that you are creating your own content. Yes, sharing graphics and quotes from other people is great. Yes, you can definitely share other people's articles, videos, podcasts, newsletters, but make sure that your company is creating your own original content. Why? Because people will love to consume it. You're adding value, you are positioning yourself as an industry leader, and you're also leveraging that power of content to drive more traffic to your website, brand yourself and position yourself very strongly sort of in the niche or in your industry. And also you're adding, most importantly I would say, is adding value to your fans and followers, where they are consuming the content that you're creating on a weekly, monthly basis, and they're actually really engaged. So really important, make sure that please you are creating either blog posts, videos, podcasts, audios, or newsletters. So many people set up shop on Facebook, but they're not even taking their own photos. They're not, going behind the scenes and actually capturing what is happening behind closed doors in their business. They're only sharing other people's stuff and they're not seeing any results. Why? Because you have to be completely authentic, very creative, and very original in the content that you are creating. Great. So next, I'm going to show you a quick example here, and this is from LKR social media. Of course, you're going to say that I'm probably cheating because this is in my industry, but I want to show you an example. Here, Laura, her name's Laura Roeder, she is creating this particular post. She published this post and it says, "We love A/B testing at LKR, but it only works if you do it right. Are you making one of these mistakes?" Very, very catchy, very witty post. But she includes a URL from her blog that sends people directly to her webpage. So it piques a lot of interest. Everyone's going to want to click, or a lot of people are going to want to click. And this is a phenomenal post, okay? So really important, make sure that you're creating your own content. And a lot of people might be a little bit confused in terms of, hey, I don't have a conventional business. I have no idea what I should be talking about. And I'll give you a quick example. One of my clients is an art gallery, and the owner has no idea what type of content to create. And he was telling me, "Kim, I think I'm going to bore people, and I just don't want to spend so much time creating this content because I think that no one's going to really appreciate it. They're going to feel, I'm already sending a newsletter every month, and I feel like I'm just going to bother people." Well, let me just say that while you want to be mindful of the type of content that you're creating, there is so much that people need to know about your business. I'll give you a quick example. So this client, receives a lot of questions all the time. Whether it's how can I, really know whether a piece of art is actually authentic, to how should I preserve my new brand new piece. So it's really important that you think about these things and use the questions that your clients are already asking you as a way to communicate. Maybe you create a blog post that outlines, I gave him the suggestion, top 10 ways to know whether or not you're buying an authentic piece of art. This is really valuable. Of course his clients are going to want to know that. Of course his prospects are going to want to know whether they're buying a piece of art that is legitimate or not. So really important. Another thing that I suggested to him was, maybe write a blog post or a newsletter or maybe a cheat sheet or anything like that that states 5 ways to display the newest item in your collection safely. So of course when you buy a piece of art, you want to make sure that you're displaying it the best way possible, where it's preserved and it's safe. So think about these things when you're creating your original content. Is always keep in mind the questions that people are asking you, the questions that your clients are asking you. And also think about topics that you can write about that fall in line, of course, with your industry, but also are really educational for your clients, so that the buying experience, is a lot easier. If you're a retailer, this is very simple. If you're a service business as well, so there's really no excuse. Great. So let's move on to the next. So Kim, what should I talk about on social media? And this is a very common question that I get asked a lot. And it's really a challenge sometimes. As a social media manager and strategist, you can imagine I run out of things to talk about. I really do. But I have a few secrets that can help you. And we'll talk about this more in detail in the next slide. But I want you to take a look at H&M's post. This is a really good post. It's a really well-crafted post. And one of the things that I want to make sure that you're doing is not self-promote all the time. Remember, the people are on social media to be social. They're not there to hear about your latest offer or your latest giveaway, your latest discount. Although ever so often they really appreciate you sharing that information with them. They want to be able to enjoy your services in a way that inspires them and keeps them engaged. So H&M is really clever, and they promote their products, or obviously their line or their accessories, in a really subtle way. And I want you to do the same. Take a look at this post. It says, "Travel in style. Get inspired to do some ultimate packing for the ultimate weekend." And then they go ahead and add a link to their web page, where they're displaying a lot of the accessories you see on this photo. So as you can see, this is a really high quality image. It's not super complicated, it's just a snapshot of different items organized in a suitcase. And it's a really simple post, but they are subtly promoting their products. They're piquing people's interests, and as you can see, look at all the likes that this post got, and got 1 comment. So it's a really good way to promote your products in a subtle way. So think of ways that you can do this, and I'm sure you're going to come up with a ton. Great. So moving on to the next one. Share interesting posts. Now, you don't always have to share stuff about your products. I hope that you don't. But also understand your niche and your followers and what they're interested in. Here is a really good post on Twitter from Coexist. They write, "Sunlight is a miracle disinfectant. This device will tell you when it's worked its magic." So really interesting. I've never heard of a device that lets you disinfect things with sunlight. So really interesting. They add a link, of course, here. Again, piquing their followers' interest. And it's just a really fun sort of post. So think about interesting topics that you can include that are probably aligned with your business, but that also your fans and followers appreciate and are genuinely interested in. Great. So moving on. Here is add value, and add value. If you can show your clients or your followers and fans how to do something in a simple way, go ahead and do it. Danny J from Sweaty Betty, or Sweaty Betties I should say, she is phenomenal at doing this. She is a personal trainer. And here is a screenshot of a post on Twitter. She says, "Here's an upper body and quick core circuit. Go sweat yourself." And a link to her latest video. So make sure that the content that you're creating is actually adding value to your fans and followers. Really important. If you want more ideas on how to create really interesting posts on social media and you want some fresh ideas, go ahead and visit KimberlyAnnJimenez.com/what should I talk about on social media, and you'll find a blog post full of really fresh ideas that you can go ahead and use as your own. So I hope that was helpful. Okay, so we are reaching the end here, and one of the things I didn't want to leave without talking about was understanding why engagement is important. And I don't know if you've been hearing about engagement. For some of you, this has been hammered into your brain. Other people, it's completely new. So I want to explain it in a really basic way. Engagement equals conversations, which equals relationships. So engagement and conversations are one in all. So on social media, how do we know what engagement really is? Well, it really depends on the social channel. But engagement is whenever, it's very, very basic, it's whenever fans and followers are actually interacting with a piece of content that you've published on social media. Alright, so on Pinterest, it can be repins, likes, and comments. On Facebook, it's likes, comments, and shares. On Twitter, it's replies, retweets, and favorites. On Google+, it's +1s, comments, and shares. On Instagram, it's comments and also likes. And I want you guys to know the difference between these. It's really going to depend on the social network that you're on, but of course make sure that you understand why engagement is important. And I don't want you to do something without, if you're trying to get engagement and you really don't understand why, that's really not a good place to be. So understand that engagement is really important because it helps you amplify your message, and you're also building real relationships with real people. Every time someone comments on a post, they're interacting with you. They're starting a conversation. So be really, really mindful of the types of comments that you're getting, making sure that your posts are getting liked, are getting retweeted, they're getting favorited, that your posts on Pinterest are getting repinned. It's really important that you build that engagement. While it's not the most important metric, it is important that you are building these relationships with your fans and followers. All right, and finally, it's really important to turn fans into leads. Of course we want a lot of engagement. Of course we want a large fan base. But why do we want engagement in a large fan base? We want a large fan base because we're building a community of highly targeted prospects who are genuinely interested in the products, programs, and services that we have to offer. Okay, really important is that we're building this particular fan base because after we do, the work up front, then we're able to turn those fans into leads and later give them an offer, a discount, a promotion, and actually turn them into paying clients. Really important. A lot of business owners, myself included, at a point, we think that posting great content and getting engagement, it all stops there, but it really doesn't. It's really important that we're building sales funnels and understanding how our fans can turn into leads. Now, on social media, it's really rare that you can make a sale right from the social network, okay? And the reason is because, again, social media is social. When you meet someone at a cocktail party for the first time, or you might, know him from previous, or her from previous encounters, it's very rare that, they come up to you and they just give you a blank check, and buy your product or program right there. It's very rare that that happens. Think about that whenever you're going to a networking event or you're at a cocktail party. It's very rare that you actually go in and pitch someone, give them your elevator pitch, and they actually buy. So it's the same thing on social media. We're being social, and you want to get these people, these fans and followers' attention, turn them into a lead, and continue to market to them there. So the way to do this is via email marketing. You want to make sure that you're constantly building your email list. It's really important if you are going to really leverage the power of online marketing. And so the way you do this is by utilizing email marketing and really creating a great opt-in lead magnet. What is an opt-in lead magnet? It is a piece of content that you design specifically for your prospects that is really enticing, and it's kind of like a gotta have it piece of content that they really want, and is going to add a great value to their life. But here's the catch. You need to enter your name and email in order to be able to download that lead magnet. So let's give you a quick example of this. Let's say that you want to create, you can create this, by the way, in the form of, there's so many, honestly. There you can do a PDF, you can do a cheat sheet, you can do a checklist, you can do a video series, you can do a tutorial, you can do an audio series, you can do so many different things. But the general concept is creating a really high quality lead magnet that you're able to offer to your fans and followers on social media and really everywhere in exchange for their name and email. So a great example of this is I work closely with a moving company, and lately they have been upping their online game, and so they want to create a series of lead magnets that are really high quality and that their audience really wants in exchange for their name and email, so that they can later create a sales funnel and market to those people. So I gave them a quick idea, and that's, I know from experience that a lot of people struggle when it comes to packing their homes. And so we talked about maybe creating a PDF checklist that is really personalized and really individualized for that particular client or future client. And it's 10 ways to pack your apartment in under 3 hours. So some really good strategies and tips and tricks that can always help their future prospects to increase or decrease, I should say, the time that they spend packing their homes, packing their houses, their apartments, and so really important, some tips and tricks that they are going to really enjoy and they're going to really add value to their life. So you can do this for your business, and I guarantee that you can do it. If you just think about the questions again that people ask you all the time, you can create the ultimate guide to X, Y, and Z, top ways to do X, Y, or Z, a complete tutorial to this or that, and you can do it in, pretty much any format that you like. So after we create a lead magnet and we already have these names and emails of people who have shown an interest in that particular topic that, by the way, needs to be aligned with whatever you're selling, we want to be able to add value in a series of emails. So back to the moving company sort of example, that is, we can set a number of autoresponders that go out on a certain amount of time. So let's say that this person opts in and they receive their lead magnet. 2 days later, they get their first email. And this email is adding even more value. So you can, if you're a retailer, you can talk about, different types of fashion that are in this season and how to mix and match and create, or maybe even spruce up your old outfits, and accessorize them. So you're going to want to add value through a sequence of emails, and hopefully at the end of that email sequence, it's usually 3 to 5 emails, but there's really no right or wrong answer. You give them an irresistible offer. So that can be in the form of a promotion or a discount or some kind of sale that is time sensitive. You want to really be able to drive them to action. Okay, so really important. Remember, turning fans into leads starts with building your email marketing list, your email list. Really capturing those names and emails of future clients, current clients, and really keep marketing to these people hopefully on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis, where you're sending them an email that's full of value, and then at different points in time during your year, you're able to market to them, offer them a great discount, a great promotion, a sale, and they're able to buy. So really important, turning your fans into leads, something that a lot of people really take for granted or skip altogether. Alright, so finally, let's go ahead and recap. We've had a really long session, and if you are with me until now, I am so proud of you and happy you have stuck it through. So let's go ahead and recap. We talked about finding the right channel for your business and how important that really is, okay? Pay a lot of attention to this. Creating original content that is going to help position your brand or your business as an industry leader. Really adding value to your customers and prospects, really thinking about things that can help their lives and solve a problem, make their daily lives easier. Publishing engaging posts, that is a big typo on there. Publishing engaging posts, meaning, be witty, be fun, be entertaining, be happy, be inspiring, and make sure that whenever you promote, you do it in a subtle way, all right? Building your list, moving your fans into leads, and how that happens via email marketing. Really learn more about email marketing. Start building that list. It's going to give you some really great results if you start doing this. And also remembering that you gotta have patience with yourself. This might be a lot to take in, and it doesn't happen overnight, okay? You are building your future online as you build your online presence, and it's really important that you have patience, that you know that this is going to be an ongoing effort, that you need to stick it through, and this is a long-term investment, because really honestly, social media is practically free. Okay, it's a great way to advertise and reach current and potential clients in a really inexpensive way. It used to be that we had to advertise and pay for radio spots and TV commercials, and those cost an arm and a leg a lot of times. So if you can build your own community of AKA, quote unquote, viewers or listeners on social media, that is going to give you great dividends if you do it strategically and you stick it through. Great, so we have pretty much reached the end of this conversation that we've been having, and if you have any questions, please be sure to ask away in the comments below. And if you are watching this as a resource, make sure that you fill out the form below and that you're able to ask those questions, tell me what you think, give me feedback, mention any topics that we didn't discuss, and I will see you on the next training resource. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please share it with a friend and come back for more. I'll talk to you next time.